Hello and welcome to an all-new Marvelcast Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Rachel Summers and Sitarak. My name is Ashley Hobley, your Omega level host, and joining me today is Ultimate Kerry Marchant.
Hello. I have a revelation for you all thanks to this movie, and I will discuss it, and I look forward to telling you all why Rogue still sucks.
And the astonishing Dylan Blight.
My favorite part was like he set that up as if it was going to be a reveal for later, and then just went, Rogue still sucks.
All right. So on this week's episode, we are talking about X-Men, The Last Stand.
Make no mistake, my brothers. The humans will draw first blood. And the air is still, and the night has fallen. There's only one question you must answer. Who will you stand with?
A major pharmaceutical company has developed a way to suppress the mutant X gene permanently. They're calling it a cure.
There's nothing to cure. Nothing's wrong with any of us, for that matter.
You of all people know how fast the weather can change.
Did you find what you were looking for?
The source of the cure is a mutant.
More powerful than you.
Logan!
Gee, something woke her, but she has to be controlled.
You know, sometimes when you cage the beast, I can't do this. The beast gets angry.
You have no idea what is upon us now.
The third of the original X-Men movies. There you go. Let's just jump into it. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the movies. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. Of course, it is streaming on Disney+. Let's talk about it. X-Men The Last Stand, released May 26th, 2006. Directed by Brett Ratner. Written by Simon Kinberg and Zach Penn, based on X-Men by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Starring Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry, Ian McKellen, Famke Janssen, Anna Paquin, Kelsey Grammer, James Marsden, Rebecca Romijn, Shawn Ashmore, Aaron Stanford, Vinnie Jones, Elliot Page, and Patrick Stewart. A discovery of a cure for mutations leads to a turning point for mutants. They may now choose to give up their powers and become fully human, or retain their uniqueness and remain isolated. War looms between the followers of Charles Xavier, who preaches tolerance, and those of Magneto, who advocates survival of the fittest. Ciaran, what did you think of X-Men The Last Stand?
I realized my problem with this movie, as well as all three of the movies, or at least this trilogy of X-Men movie, is there is no actual definitive group called the X-Men across all three movies. There is no, I guess, watching the cartoons growing up, the X-Men I love, there is like a core to the X-Men that, you know,
There's a team.
There's a team, right? There's an actual team. There's a core group to them. You know who's going to be there. You know who's involved in it. That just doesn't exist in these three movies. I don't think it ever, except for maybe the end of the first movie sort of plays into it a bit more, but there's no growth of a team. There's no formation properly of a team.
If you've got a suit, you're in the team.
Yeah, if you've got a suit, you're in the team. Or like, this movie is like their version of the X-Men while they're training is fucking Storm, Wolverine, Kitty Pryde, Colossus, and Iceman, and Rogue.
Yeah.
Which is
solid team. In the comics, it would be a solid team.
In the comics, would be a solid fucking team, right? In the comics, solid fucking team. In this movie, not a solid fucking team, because 4 out of the 6 members are like shown as like high school age kids that don't know what the fuck they're doing, and Rogue is fucking pointless in every fucking facet. I think that bogs this. I think it bogs them all down, and I feel like it robs this X-Men movies of the identity of the X-Men that I love. I think there's a lot. I don't love how Jean Grey / Dark Phoenix is in this movie. I think Dylan pointed out very strongly last episode, that this Jean Wolverine romance, fourth situationship thing is like it's kind of the thing that this movie has to hinge on, and I don't know why. Maybe because I haven't watched it as an older person. I haven't watched it since I was a teenager. They get rid of Scott early in this movie so that the script doesn't have to worry about the weird.
I thought you would be so happy about that.
I do. Look, no, I used to when I was a previously before this watching, I loved it because I was like, "Fuck you, Scott." I don't know if I don't know. It seemed like a very weird choice. It still seems like a very weird choice to get rid of
scheduling
Scott.
conflicts, apparently.
Right, and I've wondered that this time. I wondered if there was scheduling conflicts, but even then, I think this movie would have been better if there was the Scott Summers versus Logan, and both of them in their own way trying to save Jean Grey. But even then, it's like in these movies alone, if you don't know the history of Wolverine and of that love triangle, you sit in this movie and you're like, what the fuck? Why is this such an important thing for Logan? Like, why is he fighting for this? And I think it just doesn't sit well. I think the use of Juggernaut in this movie is like they kind of feel like they needed to pick another mutant to kind of fill out Magneto's team a bit more, and yet they didn't tap into Juggernaut's relationship with Charles Xavier and why he wears the helmet or any of that. And then also, you know what this rewatch has done for me?
What?
Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are no longer my favorite Xavier and
you've only watched
Magneto.
one with Michael Fassbender.
No, but like even like watching my history of like the other movies, knowing my history of the other movies, watching like it makes no sense to me how Magneto/Eric reacts to Charles dying. Like that, just his whole reaction to it, his whole
Charles. Moving on.
Yeah, like there's no once it have like during it, he's like no.
You don't
and then
think
once
he's
it
looking
happens,
at the bigger
he's just like-
picture of I need to wipe out all these humans who are
But
trying
the thing is, I don't think from at least my personal relationship and appreciation of their relationship, I think Charles dying, even if it was for the betterment of his cause, would be a real fucking big thing to happen.
Well, that's what he says. It's the biggest regret of his life that Charles had to die for his dream to come true.
But that line just doesn't play out.
I think the line works. It's the actions after his death that don't fit with that reaction. Yeah,
it just frustrates me. And then, there's a lot in this movie, and I think there's a lot of weird plot holes or like little things that I'm like, why? Why is this like this? And then, you know what? It's the last time I'll talk about it because she doesn't show up in any of the other movies, if I remember rightly. Rogue's horrible. I hate with a passion Rogue's character progression in this movie and her eventual decision to sacrifice her powers. Because even though, like, you know, Logan even has that moment of, hey, you're not doing this for a boy, right? And she kind of gives him doesn't even answer or gives him a coy deflection or whatever. And it's like, no, but she is. This whole movie plays out like she is jealous of Kitty and Bobby's relationship or potential relationship, which is a weird and scummy thing going on there from Bobby. And I'm all, you know,
Bobby's completely innocent. He's not doing anything.
Yeah. That plays out and Rogue doesn't, and then once again it's like this could all be sorted by just fucking
having a conversation.
And they're teenagers, so just have a conversation, just talk about it. But she gives up her powers, and there's just so much to that character that I'm like, this is so. And it's like when we watched the first one, and I said, I don't see how in this first film she ever makes it to becoming that personality of Rogue that we know and love. That's because she never does. And I don't know if that's an intentional decision or if that's just how they used her character in these movies and that was the intentional for the scripts. But she never becomes Rogue in any facet. Other than her name and some subset of her powers, she doesn't become it. And the thing was, I swear, and correct me if I've just watched it and interpreted it wrong. Rogue and Bobby got to kiss, and they had semi-sorted out the physical side of their relationship in the second movie, right?
They kissed for like a second, and then when they tried to do a little bit more, she started sucking.
Yeah,
powers,
okay.
you know?
She started sucking. No, we're not going down that on this episode. We're not doing it. We're not descending into that madness again. Yeah, no, I think Rogue sucks. I don't think she has any redeeming qualities in these movie trilogies. I could probably spend the whole episode talking about it, so just let's move on.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on X-Men: The Last Stand?
Yeah, how good, Vinnie Jones.
Oh, yeah, you said it, Juggernaut bitch.
Juggernaut bitch.
No, you gotta. I'm the Juggernaut bitch.
How can you hate this movie? You got football star Vinnie Jones. What's not to like? Moving on. Angels in it. Fuck yeah. 10 out of 10.
Wow. I didn't know you were a secret fan of this movie. This has really thrown me. What else do you love about it?
No. I mean, where do you start this piece of shit? So the movie starts, I kill off. So the problem is this. James Marsden scheduling conflicts. Let's rush the movie into production. There's half your problem. Let's kill off Jean Grey's one true love and just get rid of him and then bring back and have a shitty Phoenix storyline. Ben Foster turns up as the Phoenix for no reason.
Angel.
That character's introduced Angel for no reason.
Well, it's never called Angel.
Absolutely pointless. Yep. Many dumb things. They do Mystique terrible, fucking loses power, and then suddenly it's like, oh, she fucking betrayed him. Storm at least has powers in this finally, I guess, is the thing. Logan killing Jean at the end's dumb. She should have just flung him across the other side of the earth or something. Charles dying's dumb. Him post-credit scene to his apparent twin puts his consciousness, that's dumb. I don't know, the whole movie's dumb. It's boring. It's shit. I hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty not good. I mean, the disappointing thing is there's interesting elements in there. Like
No, hold on. Let me go back for 2 seconds. Before you say something, I just want to say my 2 cents on what you're probably about to talk about that I forgot to talk about. The whole plot being about a kid who has the power to take away mutants' powers, which is dumb plot line, dumb plot introduced for all the things you could pull from the comics or storylines you could do. Making that a fucking weird ass storyline that you want to do in the third film, dumb. Of all this, there's a million stories you could come from. They're like, let's make up a fucking mutant who.
They didn't make up a mutant. That's a real mutant.
Fucking. Well, let's put that mutant in the movie then. Whatever. Dumb storyline.
It makes me laugh how when the child is introduced or the basis for the child is introduced, it's in this like government setting where they're discussing it, and everybody's okay with it.
Yeah,
like
Hank, this moral person of moral fiber, you believe, walks
good.
in.
Kelsey Grammer's
he walks
good.
in, sees he's got a Caucasian man's hand, and he's like, "Oh, I'm okay with this." With this kid being left in a box.
I'm okay with Kelsey Grammer as Beast. That's good. That was good casting.
It was good.
Shout out to Fraser.
Shout him out, in the MCU. I don't think the idea of the Cure is not a terrible idea. Obviously, it's a thing established in the comics. It's an interesting way to have a division between the mutants.
We already have plenty of division.
No, between the mutants themselves.
Yeah, they did. It was called Eric and Charles. Well,
I think based on the previous movies, that very much turned into good and evil. So this one is a little bit more morally ambiguous. Yeah, I mean,
is it though morally ambiguous?
Is it wrong for them to take a cure for their mutants if they're a mutant?
No, but at the same time, I don't think the way Magneto goes about it isn't morally ambiguous. Like, it is just terrorism.
Is it though? Because they're forcing this cure on people as well. I think that the idea of that, and then discussing that more, and like tackling it in a non-big action way, could be very interesting. But we kind of just like Magneto's going to kill everybody, and that's kind of as far as the plot goes. I think Rogue's fine. I'm gonna just, she gets one moment. I enjoyed the danger room scene. I thought that was fun and a cool callback to the comics. This is the one time they actually do serious fighting, and Rogue gets to show her one bit of power, where she's able to steal Colossus's powers for a second and not get hit in the head by rocks. Super cool.
But the thing is, right, it isn't obvious when you watch. It's not obvious that she's the one that's doing it.
She puts her hand
looks like no, but it almost looks like Colossus does it to her. Like he puts his hand on top of her head. Like it looks like Colossus is sharing his power. It doesn't look like she's adapting and changing and absorbing his power. It just takes it like it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Do anything.
The whole love triangle between Bobby, Rogue, and Kitty, dumb. and Rogue just takes it the wrong stance like straight away. It's like boys out there are thinking about one thing. We've got degrees of complexity. We're more
Kitty, you shouldn't have hugged my boyfriend. You should have let him get hit by that missile.
Yeah, exactly. They just touched it. Anytime they touched, it's like, I understand if you couldn't touch somebody.
I know it's a bit, yeah,
super over the top. I didn't love the way they did the Dark Phoenix. Obviously, they're retconning Jean's entire character and it's being completely split personality this entire time, and this Phoenix personality has been like dormant underneath the surface the entire time. I mean, I understand why they didn't go down the route of this like all life encompassing entity coming and inhabiting the body of Jean Grey.
Now I haven't, not to get too ahead of us, but I haven't actually watched the last X-Men movie. Is that what do you know? Is that what they actually do in that one?
I haven't watched that either.
Okay, cool.
My only reference for Dark Phoenix is the cartoons.
That's what happens in the comics.
I haven't watched that movie either. So.
Yeah. And then they just throw a bunch of mutants at the wall through this entire movie. Angel is probably the worst offender. I think the opening with him like cutting off his wings when he's a kid, that's super sad and
something. Sure.
No, I mean, yeah, that idea is like super sad and like that kind of stuff. But then he's about to get a cure. He jumps out the window from San Francisco, flies across the country to New York State, where the school is. At the end of the movie, they all get in the Blackbird and go to San Francisco. He sees them leave, and he just flies all the way from New York back to San Francisco in the same amount of time.
It's called a story.
Maybe in the movies, maybe in this universe, the United States is skinnier, so it doesn't take as long to get across.
No, Angel's just really fast and really cool.
Except when he's on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Write a good movie.
I mean, this is pretty rough stuff. Even like the clear, like I don't know if the first time I watched it, whether I knew that like there's that scene where Charles is talking about the person that he's later going to inhabit the mind of. Like,
yeah,
it's like
that's that little egg sprinkle.
It's like we'll put
like,
this one. Here's a MacGuffin.
No,
here's a Chekhov's gun right here.
Yeah. Right,
I don't know if I knew that was the case the first time I watched it, but every time since, I mean, it's like, oh, that's what that's for. So they've got a scapegoat. The end.
Surprise, motherfucker! It wasn't a random guy. It's my twin.
Yep. Juggernaut. I mean, it's fine. It's a dumb character. I didn't know him to have history of Charles. He was there to be muscle and to smash through buildings, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think Beast is brought to life really well. I think they did a fantastic job with the makeup, I think, and the styling and all that. He looks great. He's introduced really well. Although the final fight scene where all the X-Men jump down from the Blackbird onto Alcatraz. Yeah, he he jumps and then he slows down he slows down in the air and lands softly, you know. What are you gonna?
I'm a senator, motherfucker.
It's all the
Secretary.
Fur. He's actually what you don't know
Secretary,
is
motherfucker.
part of Beast is actually he's like a flying squirrel, so he has like the armpit flaps. So while he's falling, he like quickly like chucks them open, slows himself down, and they got
Explain a lot.
Yeah.
All right, Ciaran, who's the mutant of the movie?
Storm, because she can actually storm.
Yeah.
There is an essence of her abilities, and she is Halle. I think out of the three, this is Halle Berry's better performance. It's still not great. It's still not wonderful. But I'll say Storm.
I think clearly this is her best role. Her best. She gets the most to do. She's the one holding everything together when shit hits the fan. She's the de facto leader of the team, and she does actually get to electrocute, use her powers like properly. Dylan.
Except for the chick that she first zaps and then she just stands back up and does.
Yeah, that's what always happens. Takes 2 electricity bolts of lightning to kill somebody. Dylan, who's your mutant of the movie?
Don't you know I'm the Juggernaut, bitch? Juggernaut. What are you talking about?
When Vinnie is getting your mutant of the movie, you know it's been a bad movie.
Oh, Vinnie Jones, man. He's fun. He's actually I'm not even joking. Like, he's so bad it makes the movie fun. Every time he's on screen,
it's got to be Magneto again, unfortunately. It's as bad as some of his direction is. I think Ian McKellen does the best that he can with the role, and he gets to do the most fun, creative stuff. Yeah. Dylan, what's the most marvelous moment of X-Men: The Last Stand? Just
like
rejected the idea
was coming in my brain
of adding that adjective to.
Just rejected the idea of a most marvelous moment in this film. I reckon there's a scene like right towards the end of the movie where a guy bursts through a wall and says, "Don't you know I'm the Juggernaut, bitch?"
Knew it.
I mean, that's pretty cool. Kitty Pryde using her powers to like phase him into the ground.
Ash,
then he tricks.
Can't save it.
She calls him a dickwad. The most 2000s PG insult they could come up with. Ciaran, what's the most marvelous moment?
Even though it was a really dumb reason why it eventually happened, Iceman actually becoming Iceman. I remember the first time I watched it, I actually popped for it because I used to really love Iceman in the X-Men on the Ultimate Alliance games as a kid. So having Bobby actually become Iceman and become totally, an ice.
If he had have like done the
pretty much
sliding down on the ice, that would have been. If they'd MCU, if you're doing a reboot, that's what.
Yeah, that would have been. Yes, and he needs to just be bold, and that's okay. Like, he needs to be like the Silver Surfer, but made of ice, and that's fine.
I mean, I apologize to the Marvel special effects teams, but that's what we need.
That's what we need.
I would say the Brotherhood rescuing Mystique. I think that car crash looks really cool. Like him take Magneto just standing there in the middle of the street, taking out all these trucks. Even though we've seen like him destroying trucks like a bunch of times, but he like squished them first, like pulled the HUD, like the the roof in before chucking him out. And then, of course, Mystique getting her revenge on that one security guard. That was fun.
Can I say it's really dumb that pistol is not made of plastic? It's made of metal, and he can move it and stuff. It's real fucking dumb. Because I'm like, you guys had plastic shit in the last movie.
Oh, they didn't think Magneto was going to come, you know?
No, but literally, like 2 scenes later, they're making all the guns plastic then, and they've got fucking plastic. They've got Nerf guns, but spitting fucking Marvel fucking anti-mutant shit.
Although, can you make a needle out of plastic? Doesn't it need to be metal to, like, pierce the skin? I guess.
Maybe sharpen the plastic enough.
Maybe it's skinny
Maybe
enough.
there's got to be something. It's also this is a world that has a metal called adamantium. Surely there is a plastic that can be
Plasterium. Yeah.
Probably
making plastic for the government.
Some mutant out there making plastic.
Just secrete, just shitting it out.
Yeah.
Why didn't so we see a bunch of cures like all scattered all over the ground when they get attacked at the end of the movie? Why didn't Wolverine just stick one of those into Jean?
You can't cure a bitch. I mean,
I'm just gonna clip that and use it for other stuff.
I watched it. Sorry, I think I watched a Jimmy Carr comedy special last night, and I think some of it's bled through me.
Fuck yeah, no. You know what, Ashley? That is a good question.
Yeah,
that we shouldn't look too much into the answer for, because
it would raise ethical questions, but
make this movie even worse.
Although they were super happy to stick a bunch of needles in Magneto. I will say that the idea of them just chucking cars and having pyro light them on fire was cool. Also, Magneto lifting the bridge, which seemed very unnecessary. That was.
I know, you can just get a cargo container to do
it. Yeah, you could just pull a ship out of the wharf, you know, or get a bus. I don't know.
Sorry, this is where I have the question of what's heavier, a whole cargo ship or
the Golden Gate Bridge? I don't. I'm going to say the Golden Gate Bridge would be my guess.
It depends how you're doing it, because you could, I don't know, it's got wires. You could just be swinging the wires back and forth.
It was just very extra, and you know. And then he also made sure that like both ends were able to hit land. You only needed the middle to hit your end to hit the lands. You know, you could just let the other end send to the ocean. But you know, Magneto's all about the messaging. Yeah. Any other thoughts on X-Men: The Last Stand?
Nah, we're good.
No.
We're all right. This was our last stand for that movie.
Did we all see the chess piece move at the end? You know, so really the cure is bullshit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, because he's a Omega level mutant, it shouldn't work properly. Who knows? Anyway, everybody lives. All right. Let us know what you thought of X-Men: The Last Stand by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars and leave 5 stars. Or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thanks for listening. Make sure you watch The Wolverine and join us next time for another All New Marvelcast.